All right guys, let's talk about it. The new 2025 Toyota GR Corolla is here, and in this video we're going to talk about all the major changes they made, and starting with the design. Up front, they made it look different, but they also did that for some improved performance. And starting up front, I mean, we knew that on the previous, GR Corolla, all the vents were functional, and that's still the case here. You still get these ones up front, this one for intake, this one for radiator, large front grille for radiator cooling with a nice GR badge over here. You get nice larger ducts here. It's all gloss black, which looks cool. Obviously I feel like it'll get, kind of scratched up over time. But let's hop onto this side, because this vent is actually feeding air into a sub radiator. That's new and a part of the highest end trim, which we're looking at right here. And there's actually an outlet for it right along the side, so which to extract that air, so it feeds it in the front, goes through that radiator, and then it goes out the side here. You also get these new 18-inch matte black wheels, which are unique to that premium plus grade. And then we still get the same vent back here to extract that hot air, relieve that pressure that builds up underneath the wheel well. And on top of that, you get some more vents, some more functionality on the hood. So hood vents over here with to obviously extract hot air, and then there is a bulge. If you can capture that on camera, it's kind of tough with the lighting, but to know that it's packing, it's got a nice little bulge, which is cool. But let's talk about one of the biggest changes, or I don't think it's a change, it's an addition, and I think it's an improvement. They're calling it a direct automatic transmission, and that's because they've tuned this specifically for the performance of this vehicle. So you feel like it's shifting with you. It's kind of predicting what shifts you want. When you're hard on the brakes in sport mode, it'll downshift for you, and then it'll upshift quickly when you're hard on the gas, which is cool. They gave us a nice little explosive view over your cutaway, so you can see the gears, which is awesome. I'm curious to see what it's like when you drive it. The nice thing is we're still getting the 6-speed manual transmission, which this came with from the get-go. So that's not going anywhere. But for people who maybe want to use this more often, more dailyable, in traffic, they can get a transmission that'll also give them launch control, and it'll have paddle shifters on the inside, so you can really play around with it and focus on really, more of a handling experience with the transmission doing a lot of the shifting for you. Let's talk about what's under the hood though, and the improvements they made there. So under the hood, we get the 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, what's probably the most iconic, I feel like, centerpiece of this vehicle, and they made some improvements. It now makes 295 pound-feet of torque. So that's the same amount of torque we were getting in the Mariza, which was a super limited exclusive trim. It's now offered across the lineup, which is super cool. And then also, obviously, will help a lot more with a launch start when you do have that 8-speed automatic, which has that launch control. Aside from that, guys, it's just tuning. The hardware here isn't significantly different. We're not seeing anything different here. Your intake box, your engine cover, nothing really to show as far as visuals are concerned with the engine. But let's actually talk about the suspension and handling. Okay, so here are a bunch of parts to show us a side-by-side on what they changed from a handling and suspension standpoint. So what we're looking at here are obviously some coil springs, but if you take a closer look, this is the old and this is the new. They've compressed this portion right here, so you can tell you're having a stiffer spring rate, or kind of a varied spring rate compared to what was previously existing. So that's that side-by-side. And then these are the shocks here, and they actually updated the rebound springs. So that's to improve handling, improve cornering, but they went a step beyond just kind of springs and shocks. They also went to the mounting point on the trailing arms. This is old, this is new. They raised it to change that rotational point, and that's ultimately to help cornering, stability, and ultimately they really want to make this handle more. And they're going down to the frames, down to the suspension components. And then this is the stabilizer bar, which they've updated as well for that. So that's what that looks like. You could tell a lot of stability in this. I could feel it just by holding it that I'm more stable. You know what I mean? But I thought that was a cool visual. Whoops. I thought it was a pretty cool visual. It shows that side-by-side comparison, old parts versus new parts. Shows they're not just doing a facelift, a retune. They're actually going into the nitty-gritty, into the handling, and making improvements, which you will feel when you start driving this. But let's get inside and show you the interior changes on the GR Corolla. Okay, guys, so inside, the only thing really you're gonna notice off the bat is the traditional gear selector, guys. Boom, boom. It gets the job done for that automatic transmission. If you don't get that, you get the 6-speed, fun stick here, and the sideway stick over here. That's all gonna be great. You still get the GR4 all-wheel drive system. You can adjust this power split front rear 60-40, 70-30, or 30-70, or 50-50 with that track mode, which is great. Your cup holders, no armrest, which I kind of wish they did back here, but they didn't. And then as far as your seats go, this isn't new, but it's carried in across that's premium plus grade, which we're looking at here. Suede in the middle. They're heated, perforated, leather on the sides, GR embossed in the headrest, which is a nice touch. And then as far as the center screen goes, it's the same 8-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, AC controls over here. But let's actually hop on to the driver's side so you can see what we get from my perspective, because I think that's a little more important. Okay, so on the driver's side, we get the leather wrap steering wheel, which I've honestly been a huge fan of. I like the size of it. This one now has a floppy paddle gearbox. You got the, you know, the flaps for the shifts, which is cool. You also get a larger, nice center display right there, which is cool. And then a heads-up display, which is unique to this grade and all new. We didn't have a heads-up display ever on a GR Corolla. I think that's nice to see. It's a nice technical update, makes it feel more modern, more fresh. And I'm curious to see how that will adjust depending on your drive modes when you're actually driving on the track. Maybe like a shift light up there would be really cool to see. And on top of that, literally on top of me, is a forged carbon fiber roof, which is on the Premium Plus grade. And let me talk about the lineup real quick, because we used to have the Core, the Track, and then the Merizo. That's kind of changed. You still have your Core, and all of those will get the limited slip differential, which used to be on a performance pack. You get the limited slip differential standard across the lineup, which is great. And then what we're seeing here is obviously the fully loaded one, so you get all the nice stuff on it. But it's nice to see that they're taking what people have been automatically selecting and bringing it throughout the lineup, and just making it more catered to the customers that have been purchasing it. I really think they're making a good step by adding the automatic, because it's more accessible to more people. That's really, at the end of the day, what this is doing, is more people are going to be able to buy this because they don't want to commit to the manual, which I personally would take, but it's not for everyone. And then around back, guys, the fender flares, the design hasn't really changed much over here, so I don't want to bore you guys to death. If you guys know what the GR Corolla is and what's been done to the rear and all that stuff, the vents are functional, the 3 exhaust tips is cool, I like it, but I'm going to wrap it up here. If you guys enjoyed the video, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.